Here. Dan Patrick is here. He's down on the floor. Dan Patrick earlier this year took a real bad spill in Bloomsburg, Ohio. And this is a shot of Dan. Leaves the starting line. First set of cars he looks great on. Second set of cars he gets in a little bit of trouble. Now you see him going to the side. The truck is out of shape. Watch this truck because Dan is going to take one of the worst rides you've ever seen in a monster truck. He builds his own trucks. He builds several trucks for other people. See the truck, the energy coming off of the truck. It looks terrible on the truck. As it flips on around, you're going to see Dan land. When the truck lands, Dan's on the inside of it, strapped in well. This is the average of the truck as far as building-wise. Dan is perfectly good, walked away from it.
10,000 pounds cartwheeling through the Ohio sky, and of course any Richter scales were pegging that afternoon. Well, Dan Patrick has rebuilt the Samson truck, and he is with us here in Des Moines. We're going to introduce you to him now with a guy who might find this warm weather kind of balmy to him. Our own Walt Yarbrough is the third member of our crew. He comes from Minnesota. This is old hat for you, isn't it, Walt?
Well, I tell you what, it is cold here in Des Moines, Iowa, but we're down here with the new mighty Samson and Dan Patrick. Dan, come here. We saw the footage of that wreck. It was something else, but this is a new rebuilt truck, and that's kind of what you do. You kind of rebuild trucks, don't you?
Right. We build trucks anywhere from just the frames all the way to turnkey trucks where we drive them right into customers' trailers. And as you see in the footage, we test our own trucks, so we've been very fortunate. All the trucks I've built over the last 8 years, we've never had a driver injured in one.
Well, that's excellent. Now, this is a kind of a test vehicle for you, the mighty Samson?
We do a lot of testing with this. Also, we do testing with different customers. Depends on what part of the country they're at. If they don't race in a series that we're in, we ask them if they test for us. And so we've got several guys out there that actually test our products.
And you've also built some of the chassis for the Bigfoot people.
Right. I was with Bob Chandler for 3 years. We started building his tube chassis. What Bob would do is we would get together and we would draw stuff up. And I would take his ideas and make them into fiction, or make them real, you know. Then he would go back, and so we worked together for several years, and we still work together.
All right, Dan Patrick, I'll tell you what, the mighty Samson, Dan Patrick, we'll go back up to the mean machine, Ralph Shaheen, and to the doctor of truckology, the professor. Go on, take it back, fellas.
Well, when you see biceps bulging on the side of a monster truck, it could be one truck only, and that is the mighty Samson truck of Dan Patrick.
Dan Patrick is a great, great monster truck builder, but you know what? He's a good driver also.
Now, he's got his hands full with the fastest lady in the bunch. This is a misbehaving truck, which Julie Christensen pilots.
Out of Clearfield, Utah. Came quite a ways to race this little truck. Blown 460, maybe not the horsepower that Patrick puts out, but this lady can handle the truck. She does a great job with it.
You and I got to talk about our definitions of little, because I see 1,200 horsepower. That's no little truck to me.
You know, 1,400 would be a little better.
Okay,
That's what you're always looking to step up just a little bit. And there's Mr. Patrick.
A real crowd favorite. 560 cubic inches of Hemi power coming out of that 96 Chevy. 1,350 horses as we get underway.
Dan runs a dry block. He doesn't run any water in it. He told me earlier he ran it for a few minutes. It never came off of the peg. Well, that's 100 degrees. Dan Patrick looks like he's got this, well, hopefully in the bag. Everything together.
He sure does. Dan Patrick real quick here tonight as Julie Christensen finishes it off. You see him stand on the brakes as all the weight shifts to the front of the big Samson truck. The Chevy looking strong here tonight.
Blown KB. There's Dan Patrick. See how the truck gets good air on it. Its rear tires settle down. The truck doesn't bounce when it lands on the ground either. It just stays dialed in. Dan moving around. That runs the big Hemi, and it is really building a lot of horsepower tonight. That's probably going to be a big secret here tonight. I like the way Dan operates this truck.
So Dan Patrick in the Samson truck puts away Julie Christensen in round number 1 here with the obstacle course.
Dan's got a lot of good help with him tonight, and his #1 pitman, Gene. I saw Gene over there. There's Gene.
There's those big biceps of Samson.
Dan Patrick and David Morris. This is going to be a great race. Not a big race. I mean a great race. These guys are both pros. Look how he comes off of it.
Around the turn back.
He's ahead of Patrick. I do believe at this time, but right now it's going to be the final round. Patrick takes out a pole.
I think equalizer put him away.
I do too. David Morris, even though Patrick took out the pole, got a little short shot on it, Morris comes back, hammers it. He's there. Let's see what happens.
Take a look at the finish line again. Whichever one crosses those poles first, yeah, its equalizer.
About a half a fender and one Patrick. Go against the beautiful misbehaving truck, and should be good. Dan needs really hard off the throttle.
Left her at the lights.
Ooh, did he shut the Hemi down? That's the thing. He left her at the lights, but he used up every bit of the finish line area to get shut down. That cameraman's eyes were just probably as big as the camera lens.
There's a look at the Samson truck. Now watch this. He launches beautifully.
Picks the right front up. The truck leaves hard, lands very well. Watch him come in and try to put this truck to a stop. Front end comes down on it, just getting rid of some energy. Picks the right front completely off of the ground, and he has just covered misbehaving before this is over with. That truck performs and runs about as good as any truck you're going to see any place or any time. It just does a great job. Dan's design work is probably second to none. He builds it in this big shop behind the house.
What is the first of what they call?
It's just right on the line. Now they move in ever so slowly. Morris would love to beat Patrick, and it could happen.
Not tonight. Not tonight. I think the biceps were bulging and got to the line first.
Looked like he got by just
a knuckle.
Makes him knuckle deep.
Oh,
I don't know. That was a great race. That was absolutely a very, very close race.
Let's take a look at the finish once again, and you can see from the exhaust how the Samson truck got a great jump. Yep, he got him maybe by a whole wrist.
It could be a wrist in that.
Coming right at you, fist first, is Samson.
Dan Patrick has two things that work in his favor so much. The chassis and the motor, and he is such a perfectionist in the engine department. You know, he ran the Tom McEwen Mongoose funny car pulling vehicle for a number of years.
He was teamed up with the Mongoose. Tom ran the Mongoose funny car on the pavement, the Nitro, and Dan ran on the... There is the Christmas tree here, too, by the way. They're watching our flag, man. That is what decides. When the flag moves, they're gone.
They don't tarry long on the starting line. When Harbuck gets ready to go and it starts to move the flags, you're going to see two guys go for it.
Pick your favorite. Bulldozer in the far lane. Samson nearly the Bulldozer with a great jump. Boy, the Bulldozer truck got a tremendous lead.
Pole shot was unbelievable. Now, it was just really, really close. The finish was very close. Did he leave a little early? That's going to be a decision. Let's see.
Look at it moving. You can see it moving first.
But now...
Yeah, look at Samson come on strong in the finish. I think the horns got there.
Maybe by a nostril?
Maybe. Maybe. But look at how Samson really picks up ground over the cars.
Truck leaves hard. It runs well. Look at the back suspension work when it lands at the back of it.
Stairs and talk to Dan Patrick, the driver of the Samson truck, who did such a great job tonight. Walt, down to you.
Well, I tell you what happened is they said it was too good to be true the way the horn struck. The Bulldozer left the line, and Dan Patrick, he left a little too soon, so the winner is you.
Well, I looked over, he got a little early, but see, we only got about 20 feet in the air, so if you just, a split second can make the difference between a win or a lose.
So you had the flag all dialed in. He jumped the flag, so you get the win. Take him any way you can get him, huh?
Well, you don't like taking that way, but we'll take them.
Okay, well, I'm down here with Dan Patrick. He's the overall winner in the side-by-side racing. Ralph Sheen, back up to you if you got the points for the King of the Hill.
Well, Walt, we have not building up to legendary status. The first of the 3D trucks, Samson.
I like Dan Patrick's truck. It handles extremely well. Big, bad, blown Hemi in the back of it. Dan has got a lot of technology in the truck, and he really, really tweaks the truck well. Changed the fuel pump on it, put a fresh fuel pump on it from last week. He was disappointed he didn't win last week. He told me later on that he ran the truck after the fuel pump changed. This truck hooked. He said, Mike, 2 passes. I was on the concrete with this truck leaving the starting line. So he's building just buku of horsepower. A lot of horsepower tonight in Samson.
Well, I think the thing that is interesting is the fact that Ohio George Montgomery is as well known to motors, and of course Dan Patrick is that well known when it comes to chassis. For the both came out and backed down a little bit in the first car. Both rolled up a couple of times to get the launching pad set to go.
Well, you said it right, Ralph. The launching pad it is. They'll be airborne off the first car. They will clear all 5 cars, and then they need to land the tires out. Neil Wilson leads just a little bit. Samson out in front. Samson's got about half the truck on him. Deal's having some problems. The truck just not running the way it should. Picking up the left front tire.
He's got all kinds of problems for Deal Wilson and the big Virginia Giant, and it looks like Samson is going to easily move on now to round number 2 and a shot at the win here in the obstacle course, and it's very important, 60 points.
Dan Patrick would love to win this. It would take part of the pressure of it. Here's Samson. He turns, great turns, a little bit of horsepower, a lot of air. I think at that time he sees that Deal's in trouble. Deal is down at the other end of the track. I think Dan sees he's in trouble. He backs out, just lands real easy.
So the big biceps will move on to the final round of the obstacle course. And who will he match up against? Samson came real close to becoming king of the hill last week in Des Moines. He's got a real good shot to get a stranglehold on the position right now. But the equalizer has already put away Bigfoot. That's got to worry old Dan Patrick a little bit.
I think Patrick tuning this motor, changing the fuel pump last weekend, putting a fresh pump on it, putting a little more pressure in it. This is in car with Deal Wilson unstrapping.
Watching from inside the Virginia Giant.
That's a safe place to be.
Yeah, not bad.
Who do you like, Ralph?
You know, that equalizer truck could be on a roll tonight. He got a good start.
Boy's driving this course beautiful. Look at the power. Look at this place. He is so on go for this course.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if they'd gone one more time around, he'd have lapped him.
The truck ran extremely well. I have to give the truck that. But you've got to give David Morris credit for driving this track the way he did. Off the cars, tires cut to the left. On the cars, off the cars, tires cut to the left again. He is absolutely smoking tonight.
Watch this. Here's Samson.
A lot of power. Dan doesn't do anything wrong, except he doesn't pop the rear tires coming off the car. He was a Grand National truck puller with the Virginia Giant.
So Dan Patrick in the far lane, and it's the Virginia Giant in the near lane.
And he was also a tractor puller. So we got a couple of ex-tractor pullers moved over to monster truck racer. Oh, good shot. This is going to really show what goes on.
This is all down to getting that truck to squat down on the track and get a good drive out of the dirt.
Absolutely leave hard. That's what you know.
Well, the Giant took off pretty good.
He left hard.
Boy, did he ever.
That was a very close race right at the finish also.
The Giant gets credited with the win. So he'll move on to the finals. Now he's staring at a minimum of 50 points, so he's in great shape. Let's take a look at the replay here. Look how good the Virginia Giant leads. Look at that.
That truck transfers weight. It's a close race, but Deal really, just noses the Samson truck out a couple of inches.
The problem Samson had, Mike, was at the end there, he was still climbing while the nose of the Giant was crossing the line.
Also, the dirt overall, he's setting in second place after the first round with 50 points. One of these guys needs the points. Both of them need them bad. All 4 of these trucks are just so close that this drag racing is going to make all the difference in the world.
Well, Samson's got to be frustrated he didn't get the bye in the King of the Hill Award last week, losing that to Dragon Slayer, and he might not get it here.
It will be good. They're leaving with the light. Motors are way up. These guys really are intense. I think Samson's in a bad lane, though. That lane tore up earlier real bad when he left with it.
Oh, I think Samson got him. Samson got him, Mike. That is not what the equalizer wanted to see.
Well, that's going to put the equalizer with 90 points.
Here's a look at it.
Patrick picks the front end up. Boy, he leaves well. He's probably a foot, foot and a half in front of the equalizer. But now, Ralph.
Well, that takes some of the heat off of Bigfoot here.
But equalizer and Samson.
And here is Samson, and Samson was the first of the 3D trucks, as they call it, my favorites.
Dan Patrick is a true racer. He started out tractor pulling. He had a Tom McEwen funny car that he pulled with for several years. Saw the monster trucks, got into the monster truck circuit, and he builds absolutely probably the best chassis in the country for these cars.
And a 3D truck is one like Samson with the big bulging bicep arms and so forth. It's almost a little more, I hate to use the term, but cartoonish.
Dramatic.
Thank you. Much better term. That's why they pay you so much to sit here.
Well, that's the only reason.
To save me, yes.
But it's going to be great racing. You know, this course is, in the past, we've had turns that they could run the trucks in deep, kick the back steering out, and just swing the back end of the truck around and then be lined up with the other cars. That's not going to happen here tonight, because you see right in front of each one of them is a singular car. So you cannot get on that hard, because it will put you in the air. When you land, then you got to bring the back of the truck around to line it up, and you'll overshoot the big set of cars. That's going to be the touchy part of it.
In your upper right corner, you see the onboard camera shot from inside Samson. That is what Dan Patrick sees. He's got 1,400 horsepower, and he's steering straight at a wall.
10,000-pound truck. See what happened to him? He's in trouble. Big trouble when he got on it too hard down the starting line.
Oh, he's up on two wheels. Really struggling, Mike.
Well, and he did just exactly what I thought he wouldn't do. And when the flag dropped, he just nailed it. It launched him over that single car, sending him towards the wall much too far to make the swing. Dan Runte in the other lane just eased it around.
Watch it again.
Watch what happens when he comes over here in this area to land. Now, he's completely out of shape to run this set of cars. Gets it up on two wheels right there. Now he's going over with the wheels caught, and he's off on this side right here. Bicycles it, barely gets it around to line it up. By that time, it's too late as Bigfoot crosses the finish line right there.
Here's a look from the onboard camera. Look at him fighting. You can see him reaching inside the cockpit, trying to get control of this thing.
There's where he kicks it up on two wheels. You see how the cab is tilted so much. Now it drops down, and he's got control of the truck at this time, but it's a little late in the race to even think about winning this one. Just a little too edgy on the throttle.
Could be first race of the night jitters.
Well,
we've got a problem with one of the top monster trucks. Samson is having some problems, and we're not sure if he's going to make the call for the first round of the track racing competition.
I think he's had clutch problems is really where I think he's at on that. And that showed up in the first round that he ran.
Well, here is the first.
Good look at Samson. There are those famous arms coming out of the front end there. Those are some tremendous biceps.
Well, this is Dan Patrick's truck, and Dan has had a death in his family, and we want to send our condolences from all the crew to Dan. The gentleman tonight, Gene, is there.
Gene Patterson's going to run tonight. They take off, they get the green flag, and Samson looks like he has a...
Watch him come on the inside. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to get on the inside, but he takes down a pole.
Snakebite with the lead as they cross the cars for the first time. Snakebite has a big lead, and now he's going to go across, and as they cross the middle, it's going to be Snakebite.
Well, Patterson had mentioned earlier that he was going to try to go between the whoops and the starting line of the mud pit. He did that, and it cost him dearly. Just when he took down the pole, I think he lost concentration, and when that happens, your history. I don't care how good you run when you lose the competition.
And Mike, one of the things about here is that they
still take the championship king of the hill.
Good look at the front of the bulldozer. Getting ready now, revving him up. 1,500 horsepower coming at you on the obstacle course.
We're going to see two different drivers. I don't think you're going to see the mistakes. I don't think you're going to see the problem that these two guys had on their first run. I think this run will be just smooth as silk.
Jim checking him out, gives him the green. Good start for both trucks. No problem over the first set of cars. And now they'll go over the set of 5 as they come down. Big lead for the dozer.
Big lead for the bulldozer. I can't understand what Samson's problem is tonight. Truck's just not working.
And Gene Patterson having all kinds of trouble as Bulldozer takes a huge victory
And now Samson will come across in the second place. He'll finish fourth tonight, worth 30 points. After the grandstand, Mike, I think after he saw Runty almost unable to stop in the Bigfoot, he got himself up off the floor.
Well, I wouldn't be on the floor with him. The floor's tight. If we're using every bit of it, I'm not going to be down there with him. And I trust them all.
All right, they're firing him up now. They're going to bring him up, and they're going to stage him. There's no timing lights or anything like that. It's just by the eyeball. And then both drivers are going to focus down to the other end of the arena and to get the final green flag from our starter, Jim Harbuck. He's going to raise that flag and then toss it, and he's getting ready to do that now. Tension up as they head to the start line. Drivers signal them. They are ready to go. Here comes the green. Man, another close one.
That was very close. I believe Samson took it, though, just maybe by wrist length or something.
Yeah, and he's got the bands on the front there. It's also, he was able to get some decals on his truck this weekend from High Tech, his trailer company. Here's the start. Here's the finish.
He does. He takes it probably a fender length. The truck landed well.
Now again, Gene Patterson is piloting Samson here for Dan Patrick, so he's going to take it from the line, trying to beat off the snakebite of Sky Hartley, who won the obstacle course earlier tonight. And Samson for a berth to the finals. There's a good look at Jim Harbuck. He's getting ready to wave that green flag, and they're going to pull him up there and head off.
Gene Patterson at one time was a Bigfoot driver. He had not been in this truck until last weekend. Been a year and a half out of the truck. And last weekend he stepped in, and this weekend he's back racing.
Drivers ready. Green flag. Here they go. Bigfoot, a great jump. Samson, a nice ride there. But it's going to be Bigfoot. He crossed it first.
It's the low-end horsepower of the Ford. It's the quickness of at the flag. These guys have done it time after time again, and they're awesome.
That was a nice run by Gene Patterson, who's in Dan Patrick's truck, and I think he really collected himself, like you said, probably did some work down there and got this thing quite a bit better torqued up for the semifinal here.
Now you got Bigfoot, and you got the Bull. That's going to be a great final race. Bigfoot really left good. He got a little air, and the truck actually can move forward in the air. And I think that's probably what he did. He took Patterson just a little bit in the air. And
Samson on the other lane.
Dan's done a lot of research and development over the past few weeks, and he's got the truck building just an abundance of horsepower. Now, granted, all the time, horsepower is not a needed thing, but on this racetrack, you need horsepower. There is Kevin Pugh.
Oh, that was a good lead by both of them.
It's close. Patrick stumbled a little bit. He stumbled pretty bad on the turn. Now, he's coming back around. Got to give it to Sky Hartley, and Patrick has knocked off an oil filter. He had that happen last weekend, and there is an oil filter, and he needs to shut that truck off. But there's an oil filter, Orangeburg oil filter, mounted up right in that area right there, and he knocks the fitting off of it.
I'll tell you where Snakebite is making it, Mike, is in the turn. He gets a great lead, but watch how well he gets through this turn.
This is so close at this point, but you're right, Ralph. He gets around the curve. Look how tight that is. He's using both front and rear steering. Dan didn't use quite enough rear steering on the truck. He gets in the turns and out of the turns much better.
That Snakebite truck really pirouettes around the pole just beautifully. Oh, boy. That is not good.
This is the part that broke right there. There's a line. This line needs to go over here and is not doing it.
Let's check in with Dave.
Dan Patrick, and Dan, obviously, you knocked the oil filter up there. Did you have a chance to shut her down before you damaged the motor?
Well, I think all we did was just blew a oil pressure line off. They were brand new lines. It might not got put on right. We rushed around, so we've got more in the trailer. We'll put it on. We'll be back.
Oh, are we going to find out right now who's got power?
Yes, sir. This could be the telltale sign for Snakebite right here.
Hartley is going to be tested at this moment.
Samson truck, the big biceps. Just a truck with a lot of muscle.
You're right, Ralph. It's got a lot of muscle, and there's a snake that'll bite you in a moment.
I just am amazed
how that snake bite has been wheeling off the line.
And Sky has been able to drive it just so dramatically.
He's an inch away from a blowover, as they call it in drag racing.
That's very true.
I mean, your breath just leaves you. You think he's going right over, but he doesn't lift.
He's right on the jagged edge.
Watch this again.
This is a great race. They both leave well, but look at Hartley. Look how high that truck is. Look at that. And
He's staring straight up at the arena ceiling.
strapped in, looking straight up. But the thing about this is he's got this